What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, in today's video, I wanted to talk about a prospect that a lot of people have been talking about recently, a guy that in the NFL draft is a prospect that will likely go in the top 10 picks, a prospect that is one of the most hyped players to come out of the draft in many years, and a guy that recently, although the positional value may say differently, Lions fans might be very excited to hear about. Now, this player is of course Florida tight end Kyle Pitts, and although he is at the tight end position, I believe he could be a very realistic and a very solid pick for the Detroit Lions if they decide to stay at the 7th overall position and select him. Now, before we get into this video, before we start talking about Kyle Pitts and why he might be the right pick for the Detroit Lions with the 7th selection in the NFL draft, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes 2 seconds out of it to do so, quick, free, and easy, and will help the channel out more than you could know. So if you could take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe, I'd be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, and without any further ado, let's get right into talking about Kyle Pitts, the tight end, and whether or not he could be the right pick for the Detroit Lions at pick 7. Now, Kyle Pitts is obviously, as I said, the tight end out of Florida. Kyle Pitts right now, as far as his NFL measurement, stands at a 6'6", 246-pound tight end. Now, in the 2020 NCAA football season, Kyle Pitts totaled 43 receptions for the Florida Gators, while totaling 770 receiving yards and 12 touchdowns. Now, in his career with the Florida Gators, Kyle Pitts did total playing in 24 games for Florida, had 100 total receptions for 1,492 yards and 18 touchdowns, while averaging 14.9 yards per reception. Now, in 2020 alone, Kyle Pitts was a consensus All-American, won the Mackey Award, and actually finished 10th place in the Heisman voting just a season ago. As the tight end, as a person, as a player playing at the tight end position, those awards are not an easy thing to come by. Obviously, consensus All-American, there's only one of those every single year. The Mackey Award winner, and Kyle Pitts was awarded that because he was just the best receiver in college football by far. And as I said, you don't finish 10th in Heisman voting by being a bad offensive player. And for a tight end of all positions to finish as the 10th player ranking, to finish with the 10th most Heisman votes in the NCAA is a very impressive milestone in its own right. Now, Kyle Pitts will not blow anybody away with his speed or his raw athleticism. However, Kyle Pitts is just a very good wide receiver. Kyle Pitts is probably projected to run somewhere in the low 4.6s, high 4.7 range. So he's not going to run by you. He's not going to run past you. He's not going to be an absolute blazer at the tight end position. However, Kyle Pitts is just better than you. Like, Kyle Pitts, as just a player, as just an athlete, is a better player than most players he will be playing against in the NFL. He's very good at high pointing the ball. He has a very large catch radius, has a 31.3-inch vertical jump, which is around average for tight ends and would have ranked around average for NFL tight ends a season ago at the combine. Kyle Pitts just standing at 6'6" with a very good vertical, a very large catch radius, and just all around being a very big receiving threat, being obviously, as I said, consensus All-American and a John Mackey Award winner. The dude is just a flat-out monster in the air, and more times than not, he is going to beat you to the football. Kyle Pitts also at the tight end position is not a great blocker. However, he is more than serviceable enough to run block and pass block if you need him to. He's very much capable of blocking for a running back and opening up holes in the run game, and he's more than willing to get his nose dirty in the dirt. He's more than willing to put his hand in the dirt and get, play rough, play dirty in that trenches. He's more than willing to play in the trenches and block for your running back if he is asked to do so. And although, as I said, it's not a strength necessarily of Kyle Pitts, it is something that he is more than capable of doing, and it is something that he is more than willing to do and more than willing to take on as a tight end. Now, if you look at Kyle Pitts, and if you were to tell an average Lions fan that they would be selecting a tight end with the number 7 overall pick, they would probably laugh you out of the room. And if this actually were to come true, there are going to be a lot of Lions fans that are upset with the pick. However, Kyle Pitts is not what you would consider a traditional tight end. He is not considered a guy that's going to be inline blocking, a guy that's just going to be a red zone threat. This dude is a wide receiver playing tight end, and a wide receiver that's actually pretty good at blocking as well. I mean, you could put Kyle Pitts at that traditional tight end role, sure. You could put him on the end of the offensive line, having running, simple crossing routes, have him run something very, very simple, or you could simply line him up at the wide receiver position, ask him to run just about any route in the book, and he is going to be better, and he's going to beat his one-on-one matchups more times than not. I mean, this is a guy that has the potential to be a 1,000-yard receiver in the NFL. This is a guy with the ceiling of a Travis Kelce, a Darrell Waller, a George Kittle. He has the potential to be a top 3, top 5 tight end in the NFL, and pairing that with TJ Hockenson would make the Detroit Lions an absolute nightmare for defensive coordinators to game plan for. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to say, oh, why would we draft a tight end at 7? Why would we take this person at 7? He's a tight end. We have TJ Hockenson. Tight end is probably one of our best positions on the team, and is probably one of our most talented positions on the team. But if you really take a deep dive, if you really take a deep look at it, a tight end core that is made up of TJ Hockenson, Kyle Pitts, and Austin Bryant would be by far a top tight end core in the NFL. Would probably be the best tight end position, would probably be the best tight end group and the best tight end room in the entirety of the NFL. That would also allow the Detroit Lions to release Jesse James at that point, freeing up over $4.3 million in cap space where they can go spend elsewhere. And as I said, they would be getting one of the best tight end rooms and one of the best tight end cores in the NFL. And if you look at that team, if you look at a team with TJ Hockenson, Hunter Bryant, Kyle Pitts, and DeAndre Swift, what NFL team outside of maybe, just maybe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has the linebacker and safety play to cover all of TJ Hockenson, Kyle Pitts, and DeAndre Swift on the same play? If they are all running routes, what NFL team has the linebacking core to cover all 3 of those guys effectively on the same play? The answer is nobody. That core does not exist. That linebacking room does not exist to stop both TJ Hockenson, Kyle Pitts, and DeAndre Swift if they're all on the field at the same time. And if the Lions have a plan for Kyle Pitts, if the Lions use Kyle Pitts correctly, he could end up making the Detroit Lions one of the most dangerous weapons, and end up making the Detroit Lions one of the most dangerous offense in the entirety of the NFL. Not to mention that you also now have Tyrell Williams on the outside, a 6'4" wide receiver that runs a 4.43 40-yard dash. You have obviously Quintez Cephas still, who is pretty solid as a rookie. You still have Kerryon Johnson, who could be a very good matchup nightmare in his own right at the running back position. So yes, tight end might sound like a ridiculous pick with the 7th overall selection initially, but honestly, taking a deep look at it, it could open up a lot of very unique opportunities for the Detroit Lions. It would not only allow them to get rid of one of their worser contracts on the team, being Jesse James, as I said, freeing up over almost $4.5 million in salary cap. It would give the Detroit Lions 2 of the most dangerous weapons at tight end the NFL has ever seen. It will give the Detroit Lions one of the best tight end cores and one of the best tight end rooms the NFL has ever seen. It will make them an absolute matchup nightmare versus just about every single NFL franchise, including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who may just have the best linebacking core in the NFL. And honestly, if it's used correctly, if Anthony Lynn has a plan, and if he uses all of these pieces correctly, including Kyle Pitts, the Lions will have one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. Not to mention, all 3 of those players in Hockenson, Pitts, and DeAndre Swift are incredibly young football players, the oldest of which going into next season would be just 23 years of age, and that would be a nightmare in the Motor City for many, many years. I mean, you got probably 5-6 years of play at the minimum out of each and every one of those players, and honestly, including DeAndre Swift and TJ Hockenson, you still have 2 or 3 years before you even seriously have to pay any of them big time money and big time contracts like you're likely going to have to when their rookie deal is up. But if you draft Kyle Pitts, you will have DeAndre Swift, TJ Hockenson, and Kyle Pitts all on rookie contracts for at least 2 more seasons, and you will have them all being younger than 23 at the start of the NFL season, and you will have the scariest duo. You will have the scariest tight end duo in the NFL. You will have one of the scariest matchups in the NFL each and every week that defensive coordinators will spend pretty much in the entire week figuring out how to stop and how to prevent your tight ends from getting big gains, and that will leave Quintez Cephas, that will leave DeAndre Swift, that will leave Tyrell Williams, that will leave Jared Goff to all thrive off of just that fear factor of bringing in another Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber tight end like Kyle Pitts is going to be. Is the tight end position the biggest need for the Detroit Lions? It is not. Is Kyle Pitts the biggest position of need for the Lions? No, he's not. And is even offensive weapon, is a big receiving threat at the offensive position and the offensive side of the ball the biggest need for the Detroit Lions? No, it is not. However, the Detroit Lions have a position here. They're in a situation, they are in a position to draft a future Pro Bowl-esque talent. They are in a position to draft Kyle Pitts, who has the potential to be a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber tight end, to create one of the scariest, nightmarish offenses in the NFL that is one of the hardest to game plan and scheme around, which would eventually and inevitably lead the Detroit Lions to have one of the scariest offenses and lead them to have one of the best offenses in the NFL week in and week out. And not only would you have that for one season, not only would you have that for 2 seasons, but with the right signings and making sure you bring back these players on good contracts, making sure you bring these players back on the right deal, you could have one of the scariest offenses in the NFL and one of the most dynamic offenses in the NFL for almost half a decade. Now, with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Again, I wanted to talk about Kyle Pitts as a weapon because it has come up a couple of times recently within the Detroit Lions fandom, and I think, honestly, thinking of Kyle Pitts, it's actually a very realistic and honestly would be a really, really solid pick for the Detroit Lions if they were to take him with the 7th overall pick. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Kyle Pitts. Would you draft him if he were sitting there at the 7th overall position, or would you look to go somewhere else with your 7th overall pick? Let me know that down in the comments below. I'd be very curious to hear what you guys think about Kyle Pitts as a prospect and whether or not you would take Kyle Pitts to be a Detroit Lion. But with all of that being said, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. If there is Lions news to come out before tomorrow, then I will obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that's all I got for you guys right now. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, go Lions.